Welcome back, guys, to our final show of the season for our GXCC coverage, at least. So this is going to be all about our support classes. Delmas was a gnarly one, and the ProAms have shown some incredible form and improved form as well. Don't be shy. These guys can run similar lap times to a lot of the pro category races, and a few of them are going to find a seat at the big party for next year. So this is our third show from Delmas, round number 5 of the GXCC Championship, the Mudder, and this is focusing in on ProAms 1, 2, and 3 and the wild classes. Enjoy, guys. This is a wild one.
On the OR1 Pro-Am gate, Jaco Jans van Rensburg was the man and was going to try and stay out of trouble, leaving the rest to make all the mistakes and run and clear up the track out front. The Rooster had come to grips with the big 500 and he was going to try and see if he could flick the roost off the back tire of his big beast as he went out the gate and ran a very good pace early on. And also Nico Wells had jumped off the gate strong. On the OR2 Pro-Ams, it was a 2-horse race in the championship where we saw an incredible dice between Dion van der Merwe, who had come on strong in the second half of the season, and the early running was all about Jean Niebuhr. This time around, Dieter de Vet and Leon Goos got the pin, leaving the championship rivals to dice it out in the 3, 4 and 5 as everyone cleared the gate. Pro-Am OR3s gave us a huge gate of well over 20 riders. Quinton Fenter almost grabbed the cheese, but it was Brandon Berger on the 253 that would have clear air, and we rocking and rolling with clear goggles the whole way through on loop number 1. But remember, in the championship, everyone was going to see if they could chase things down on the champion-elect, Nathan Godrich. All that was left was for our final entry of the day and our biggest ever entry into the WOW class, the day license races, where it was anyone's game and anyone's guess as to who was going to get the cheese. There was a couple of unknown factors where a couple of motocrossers and enduro racers like Matty Battersby had joined the gate, and it was going to be their first time racing out on a 3-hour racing scenario out into the fields of Delmas for a full racing pro loop of 53 kilometers each time around. They were looking to do a 3-lap race format. Starting things out with the guys that made the cut inside of the top 5 in the WOW class, where there were well over 30 guys that went off the gate. Ulrich van Grooting got the job done on the W888. Didn't fade out too bad, and most of these guys that did make it inside of the top 5 did actually go on to complete not 3, but 2 laps of racing, because that's how gnarly and tough the terrain truly was. JP Förster was in the number 4 spot, and Matty Battersby showed that he was a little bit unfamiliar with the terrain, but still walked away with a creditable 3rd place. Remember, Battersby does not have a cross-country or off-road background. He is a pure rock hopper and enduro cross skilled racer. This time around, he had to go all the way through the gearbox and figure out how to survive a GXCC event. 3rd place for the 507 Battersby is a strong first-time outing. Andrew Nell was going to see what he could do and wave the flag for the Yamaha Smoker Squad. He was out there on the 250, and a motocross racing style showed that he was very familiar with the mud and the ruts, and as the race got longer, he actually seemed to get a little bit faster, better and more familiar with the terrain. Walked away with a number 2 spot at the final time of asking at GXCC 5 out at Delmas. Should be a star to watch out for in the future and possibly dip his toe into the Pro-Am categories for next year. And then there has to be a winner for the final round, and he hasn't taken a win the whole way through the season. He's had a couple of cracks at it. He's had some good runs inside the top 5, but this time around, Jaco Smith takes the final win of the season at the GXCC WOW class on terrain that was right up his alley, smooth as butter, didn't get the whole shot, but did break out the gate inside the top 5, and then made mincemeat of the rest of the field as he just didn't drop pace and built all the way through to take his first victory of the GXCCs. Here's confirmation of Smitty on top ahead of Nell. Battersby, an incredible ride for him, breaking out of Enduro Racing into cross-country with a third, ahead of Förster and Van Grooting, rounding out the top 5. Remember, there were 27 guys that went out the gate. OR3 Pro-Ams is a tough gate as well. On the season, we've seen a couple of different winners and a couple of different guys every single time inside of the top 5. Xander King, who has got a massive background in cross-country, national and off-road racing, came back in and for the first time this season broke his way inside of a top 5 to show that he hasn't lost any of his skills. And in terrain like this and these kind of conditions, experience really does pay the bills. The ruts were getting worse as the day went on, and the river crossings were getting a little bit more sketchy every time you approached them. Janus Janssen was up there into a number 4 spot, allowing the championship rivals and championship competitors to see what they could do about breaking out inside of the top 3. Remember, coming into this round, Nathan Godrich was in great shape as well, and the 488 walked away with a 3rd place on the day, good enough for him to wrap up his championship and also remain the most podiumed rider off the OR3 Pro-Am gate throughout the 2020 season. This kid is definitely one to watch out for, and the skills that his brother possesses seem to have transferred across to him as well. Quinton Fenter, so strong off the gate, always pulls out of the whole shot well inside the top 3, sometimes sees clear air as well. Fades a little bit towards the end of the races, but this time around seemed to come good as everyone else seemed to battle in the conditions, and he walked away with a number 2 spot. So this time around, we've got a new winner on the tour and a man that has come good at the end of the season. He has been in, around, or thereabouts, and so close to taking a win this time around. Stoffel Berger gets it done as well, and that'll jump him up in the championship, but he is our final victor of the season in the OR3 Pro-Am class. Confirmation of Berger on top ahead of Fenter, Godrich, Janssen, and the return of Xander King. Brendan Berger, who should have been up there after his big hole shot, faded towards the end of the race, down to a number 6. Now, on to one of the tightest championships coming out of the Pro-Am categories, and that was in the OR2s. Dion van der Merwe did a great job, and he knew there was pressure on his shoulders as well, as it came down to a couple of points, crumbs, in fact, by the end of play. 5th place for him was good, but unfortunately, the damage was done at the beginning of the season, where Jean Niebuhr had decimated the field and did walk away as your crown champion, even though he finished on the day outside of the top 10. Russell Van Gool walked away with a number 4 spot on the day, chasing down on Lincoln Lutz. The C550 has been coming on strong, and I'm very excited to see what this guy has in store for us, because he's definitely got the speed and potential on certain tracks and on certain days to be able to run the same lap times as the pros and possibly challenge for a top 6 there. Morné Kurzer was a incredibly consistent rider. When you checked out his lap times, he didn't drop out of 30 seconds difference between laps 1, 2, and 3, and he was credited with a number 2 finish on the day, and that's going to buoy him as he goes forward into the next season. Hopefully we see him full-time on the gate. And then Leon Goos, who started his season in 2020 racing off the pro gate and did pull a couple of tasty hole shots as well and scared a couple of the pro bangers, even though he had a couple of tastes of the yummy mud and dirt out at Delmas. Leon Goos pulled the final hole shot of the season and backed it up with the final win of the year as well. Even though he was locked in an early dice with Morné Kurzer, Leon Goos brought the Yamaha home and will be a guy to watch out for this championship in 2021. Confirmation of Goos getting the big hole shot and the final win of the season ahead of Kurzer, Lutz, Van Gool, and Dion van der Merwe with his number 5 spot gets 2nd place in the championship, but your champion is Jean Niebuhr. And then on to our big bangers, or the big banger version of the Pro-Am racing category. It has been all about Jaco Jansen van Rensburg. He has been dominating this field the whole way through the season in all kinds of conditions. This time around, though, it wasn't a win for him. We'll get to that in just a second. Henry Pretorius was rock solid and tasty as he brought the big 450 home on the 79 for a number 5 spot. And remember, these are the guys that are running unlimited bikes. You can run 500s, 450s, 300 smokers, whatever you want. Bring the ponies. That's exactly what Rudy Vieira did as well, as he was locked in a race-long titanic battle between himself and Dale Campbell. They switched positions almost every single lap and were extremely closely matched on lap times. Totally different riding styles, different machines, different brands, but it seems like Rudy Vieira and the Big 500 are a match made in heaven after seasons of racing on the 300s. One bad river crossing for Dale Campbell was the deciding factor, where Vieira was able to stretch his legs out front. And then the man that would be king, the C156 of Jaco Janse van Rensburg, who has been clean as a whistle the whole way through the season, loves the rocks, loves the dust, clearly didn't gel perfectly. This was his one slip on the season where he had to step down to a number 2 spot as he was beaten to the punch by Nick Wells, who has been building pace nicely the whole way through the season. He had the matching of Jaco Janse van Rensburg, stalked him, shadowed him, and on the final lap, pulled the pin, and Nick Wells, out of the Vans Racing Factory Husqvarna squad, absolutely reveled in these gnarly conditions. Great to see Nick coming so strong at the end of the season. He put in the work, he was a championship player, and he finally gets his big number 1. This is his first GXCC victory. We have a new man on top and a new threat to look forward to at next season's event when we roll into round 1 in 2021. Here's confirmation of Nicky Wells on top for the first time at GXCC Championship Racing. Jaco Janse van Rensburg's second place gives him the trophy for the championship in 2020 and the Rooster in the 3 spot ahead of Campbell and Pretorius.
So that was our final bit of coverage from the GXCCs covering our Pro-Ams and the WOW classes. What a season, guys. What a way to end things off as well. Delmas was an absolute pearler of an event, and obviously everyone needed those final few points, and there was a few nail biters that almost decided the championship, but the right guys and girls were crowned at the end of play, the guys that put in the most work throughout the 2020 season. Well done to you. And well done to the GXCC management squad. I mean, those guys had to tough it out the whole way through a very, very tough season for business and for racing. So for GXCC management and all the sponsors, for those guys, thank you so much. From our side, I couldn't do what I do without the boys from LiveX. So LiveX, and in particular, Ivan Stain, thanks, dude. Couldn't have held this year together without you, so thanks for that. And of course, our Hollywood Hills partners and sponsors. For these productions, covering the GXCCs, it's AMP CNC Academy, as well as SPX Logistics. So thanks to you guys for stumping up and helping us out to put that together. And obviously the rest of our partners for the Hollywood Hills package that we've been putting together the whole way through the season. For the 421 Racing guys, you guys have been huge sponsors. For Leon and Melissa out of Vans Racing and the Farm Jam Racing Initiative, thanks to you guys for helping out for that. For Granty out at Simply Gardens, it's been an incredible journey, and we've done some private work with him as well for his company. So thanks so much for that. And everyone who's been involved. It's just been a huge journey. It's been a difficult one. It's been a tough ride, but we know that 2021 is going to be so much better, and we can't wait to have you guys along for it. So stay tuned, stay tough, keep training, and we'll see you guys out there on the track when the flag drops once again for 2021. Cheers.